Hi everyone, this is Jan, and today we are going to be discussing why my client was billed thousands in property taxes, but the lease only allowed for a few $100s to be billed to them. I'm going to show you the exact lease clause that controls this, a common mistake that landlords make when it comes to billing assessments, and how if you're the tenant, you can use this framework to audit your own property tax invoices before you actually pay them. Now, what you're looking at is a redacted case study. It's actually the response that we sent to the landlord after they sent an invoice to my client. My client reached out to me to have me go over the provision and to make sure that the amounts were correct. So the most important figure you're going to see here is this amount, $5,639.52. And in their invoice, the landlord cited Section 10.2. They said the tenant owes the increase in property taxes over the base year plus the full amount of a specific assessment line item. That is going to be the most important thing we want to hold on to here. And once again, that is the full amount of a specific assessment as the line item. Now, on its face, that may sound credible, but after reviewing the lease, we can see that that is the incorrect way of billing the amount that is due. So the lease actually states that the increase over base year language is what is owed when it comes to the tenant paying. They owe the difference between the base year and the current year. So this is critical, right? The difference is what's owed, not the full amount, not partially full amount, not a prorated share, but the increase over the base year. And so we have a calculation here of how the landlord calculated what is due, and then we have a calculation of what is the correct method. And so there were two payments here. There was the general tax, the general property tax increase over base year, and so the landlord had that as 629 and we had that as 629. So that was correct. But here there was another parcel tax, which per the lease is once again calculated over the base year. And we had that as a $165 increase. And so when we added up these two numbers, we got to $794 and some change. But the landlord was billing my client $6,268. And so there's an overcharge here of $5,474 based on this math. The parcel tax increase is calculated as follows: $5,639, which is the actual amount, okay, minus $5,474, which is the base year, okay, once we took possession of the building. And so the difference is $165. So if you're in this position, the correct way to do math under an increase over base year, which is standard for gross leases, is you pull the base year tax bill, you pull the current year tax bill, you compare it line by line, and you just don't look at the totals, okay? Look at the actual numbers and make sure that you're getting charged on the base year. We didn't accuse the landlord of being wrong. We didn't say that we're going to argue with them. We just cited the lease language, did a calculation, and then resent it back to them, okay, which is what you can find here. Now, the reason why it matters to catch this early is because my client caught this in year one. Now imagine if they were just paying this for all 5 years of their lease. We're talking about an overpayment of about $30,000 or $40,000 over the life of the lease. And if you catch this, let's say 2 or 3 years in, well, even though the landlord would be incorrect to say this, the landlord could say, well, you've been paying this already for the last 3 or 4 years. So this is the audit framework that you want to use every time you get a tax or CAM invoice. Once again, find the base year clause in your lease, read it. It should be relatively straightforward. pull both tax years, compare the line items, and look at the increases only. Okay, so that's something that you really want to pay attention to make sure that you're not overpaying. And if the calculation is incorrect, then submit something in writing which states your methodology back to the landlord so they could revise that calculation. If you want help reviewing a lease or auditing an invoice like this, that's exactly the kind of work that we do at Commercial Real Estate. The link to book a call is below. We look forward to hearing from you. Thanks so much for watching, and we appreciate your time.